Jalen Cross had learned to stop answering distress signals. In contested space, mercy was a quick way to get killed, or worse, noticed. His salvage scanner pinged 3 times before he looked up from the cold ration bar he'd been pretending was food. The debris field around Target 9 shimmered in the void like broken glass. Every scavenger knew this place had been picked clean years ago. But the readings on his screen weren't from wreckage. They pulsed faint and erratic, biological. Something alive. Something massive. Something dying. Jalen adjusted the scanner's frequency, scarred fingers steady from habit. The life sign throbbed weakly, a fading heartbeat in the dark. He exhaled, long and slow. "Not my problem," he muttered. He keyed the thrusters. The ship didn't move. His hand hovered over the controls as his jaw locked tight. 3 years of hiding, 3 years since the court-martial that stripped him of rank and purpose for saving an enemy combatant. He had sworn off heroics. The scanner beeped again, weaker this time. Damn it. He rerouted power, engines humming low as he turned toward the coordinates. Twisted hull fragments drifted past, ghostly in the pale light of a nearby moon. When he finally reached the signal source, his breath caught. The creature floated across a shattered platform, gray fur matted with black blood, multiple eyes dimmed, flanks rising in shallow gasps. A shrike wolf. He'd seen them in xenobiology briefings, apex predators from Valkyr space, bonded to their warriors. Worth more alive than most colony worlds. And this one was dying. Jalen maneuvered close, cycling through what little he knew of alien anatomy. The plasma burns were deep, 3rd degree, maybe worse. Internal damage catastrophic. His medical kit was laughably inadequate, meant for humans, not something with 6 hearts and blood that shimmered like mercury. He could mark the coordinates, report the find, and disappear. Easy credits. Instead, he was already suiting up. The creature stirred as he approached, one massive golden eye flicking open to track his movement. There was intelligence there, predatory and exhausted, waiting for the killing blow that would be mercy. "Easy," Jalen murmured. His gloved hand touched the creature's shoulder. Heat pulsed beneath the fur, fever hot. "You're not done yet." He opened the medkit and began improvising. Field surgery was second nature: burn away dead tissue, inject synthetic plasma, seal the wounds with polymerized gel that hopefully wouldn't kill it outright. He talked while he worked, habit from too many battle triages where silence meant death. "You're lucky I'm stubborn," he said, checking the pulse pattern. "They kicked me out for this, you know. Saving the wrong person." He had once patched up an enemy pilot who'd slaughtered his squad mates. The tribunal called it treason. He called it doing his job. The shrike wolf's breath steadied under his hands. He felt relief, and dread. Creatures like this didn't wander far from their masters. Whoever had bonded to it would come looking. He slumped against a bulkhead, exhausted, staring at the stars through the cracked viewport. His scanner blinked. Multiple signals this time, closing fast. 8 ships decloaked from the darkness like ghosts, angular silhouettes glowing red against the void. Valkyr warships. "Of course," Jalen whispered. He stood slowly, raising his hands as figures shimmered into existence around him, soldiers in black and crimson armor, weapons trained on his chest. Their movements were perfectly synchronized, cold and silent. Then they parted. She stepped through them. Her presence cut through the chaos like gravity itself. Fitted armor gleamed faintly under the ship lights, each motion deliberate, fluid, lethal. Her skin bore faint red markings that shimmered as she moved. But what stunned him was her hair, a deep, iridescent purple, cascading down her shoulders like spilled nebula light. Commander Vera Kale. He didn't know her name yet, but everything about her screamed command. Predatory grace, calm dominance, and eyes that glowed amber like molten metal. She knelt beside the creature, resting one clawed hand on its head. The shrike wolf rumbled weakly, pressing closer to her touch. For a long moment, she said nothing. When she finally turned to Jalen, her gaze pinned him like a specimen. "You saved him," she said, her voice soft but edged. "He was dying." "Yes." She stood, the distance between them suddenly electric. That happens when plasma fire tears through vital organs. Most would have let nature finish its work. I'm not most people. Her head tilted, the faintest curve at the corner of her mouth. No. You are not. She began to circle him, slow and measured, her tail swaying behind her like a living metronome. Jalen stayed still though every instinct screamed to back away. "I am Vera Kale, commander of the 3rd Valkyr fleet. This beast, Kor, is mine." "Jalen Cross," he said. "Independent salvager." "Liar," she replied, studying the scars across his knuckles. "Soldier. Medic. Court-martialed for compassion." He flinched before he could stop himself. Her smile deepened. "You operated on a Shrike wolf with human tools. You stabilized him against odds that should have killed him. You stayed, though you must have known we would come." Leaving seemed rude. For the first time, her expression softened. "Just barely." "You will accompany me," she said. It wasn't a request. Kor rumbled faintly as soldiers began securing the area. Vera watched Jalen the way a scientist might study an anomaly, or a predator assessing potential prey. "I am in your debt," she said at last, and the words felt dangerous. "And in my culture, debts are paid in full." Then she turned away, her purple hair shimmering under the flicker of distant starlight, and Jalen realized he had just stepped into the kind of trouble that didn't end with survival, it began with it. The Valkyr flagship felt alive. Its corridors pulsed with faint blue light, metal walls humming with energy that wasn't entirely mechanical. Jalen Cross had been aboard warships before, but never one that seemed to breathe. 2 guards flanked him as he was escorted through winding passages, their weapons humming with restrained power. Neither spoke. Neither needed to. He was an outsider walking through the beating heart of a species that once considered humanity a convenient footnote. They stopped at a door that unfolded like an iris, revealing quarters far too generous for a prisoner. A sleeping platform, a work table, a viewport showing the scatter of distant stars, and medical equipment that made his old kit look like a child's toy. "The commander will summon you," one guard said. Then they were gone, leaving only silence and the low vibration of the ship's living core. Jalen moved through the room, studying the devices. Valkyr design mixed function with elegance, everything curved, organic, responsive. He ran his hand along a diagnostic console, and it came alive under his touch, translating alien glyphs into readable medical data. Then the wall pulsed. A soft chime, followed by a holographic projection, Kor, the Shrike wolf, lying in a medical bay, breathing evenly. A slow recovery, but recovery nonetheless. Relief washed through him. "I thought you might want to see him." He spun. Commander Vera Kale stood in the doorway, wearing her Under Armour suit, black material that moved like liquid shadow when she stepped forward. The violet strands of her hair shimmered with starlight, falling loose over her shoulders. Without the heavier plating, she looked less mythic, but somehow more dangerous. "How long have you been standing there?" Jalen asked. "Long enough to watch you examine my equipment like a man reuniting with old lovers. I like to know what I'm working with." Her amber eyes flicked toward the holographic display. "You disapprove of the monitoring array." "The neural sensors are positioned wrong," he said, crossing to the console. "They're reading surface activity, not deep tissue regeneration." "Show me." It wasn't a suggestion. He adjusted the virtual schematics, reconfiguring sensor placement. Vera leaned close enough for him to feel the heat radiating from her body, the faint scent of ozone and spice. "There," he said. "That placement will give you a live feed on cellular repair. You'll catch complications before they cascade." The sensors shifted in real time, data streams sharpening. Core's vitals stabilized further. Vera's expression changed, something between satisfaction and curiosity. You see patterns others miss, she murmured. I see what needs fixing. The same thing. She circled him, tail flicking lazily, her tone soft but deliberate. My medical officer believes you got lucky. That core survived despite you, not because of you. What do you believe? I believe I did what anyone would have done. No, her voice was firm, low. Humans do not risk their lives for alien beasts without reason. You wanted something, payment, leverage, redemption. Jalen looked her dead in the eye. I wanted him to live. Vera studied him for a heartbeat too long, reading micro-expressions like tactical data. Then she smiled faintly, one claw tracing the edge of his jaw. Compassion, she said softly, is weakness pretending to be virtue. It creates debts and dependencies. He caught her wrist gently. It also keeps people alive. For the first time, her eyes flickered with something he couldn't name. Yes, she whispered, it does. The silence that followed felt electric. Then she stepped back, composure returning like a blade sliding into its sheath. When I was 12, she said, walking to the viewport, I bonded with Core. They said I was too small, too weak for a predator of his lineage. He was injured, furious. Every other candidate fled. I stayed. She looked out into the void. It was the last time I acted without calculation. Sounds lonely, Jalen said. Survival often is. She turned, posture shifting into command. You have disrupted my calculations, human. I cannot decide if you are a threat or an opportunity. Maybe I'm just a medic who hates wasting a heartbeat. Her smile returned, sharp, dangerous, almost fond. There is no just about you. She closed the distance again, her presence intoxicating. You carry yourself like a soldier, but move like a healer. You were court-martialed for saving enemies, yet you keep saving. You should have fled when my ships appeared, yet you stayed. Why? Habit, he said dryly. Bad one. You are either very brave, she murmured, or very broken. Can I be both? Her laugh, quiet, melodic, genuine, caught him off guard. Perhaps. Then her hand rested against his chest, palm over his heartbeat. This beats faster when I am close, she observed. Fear or something else? You tell me, he said. Desire, she answered without hesitation. Her amber eyes glowed brighter. Complicated by fear. Sharpened by the knowledge that I could end you before your next breath. Is that supposed to make me less interested? She smiled, slow and deliberate. You are either foolish or wise, Jalen Cross. I have not yet decided which. Take your time, he said, voice steady. I'm not going anywhere. No, she said, voice dropping to a near purr. You are not. Her breath brushed his skin, a whisper of heat and threat, then she pulled away, armor plates locking into place with mechanical precision. Tomorrow, you meet my officers, she said. They will want to understand how a human achieved what our medics deemed impossible. And after that, he asked. Vera paused at the door, turning slightly. The violet sheen of her hair caught the starlight like the surface of a nebula. After that, she said, we will see if you survive your usefulness. The door sealed behind her, leaving Jalen alone with the hum of alien technology, the rhythmic pulse of the ship, and a question that refused to leave his mind. What have I gotten myself into? Jalen Cross had never liked command briefings. Too much posturing, not enough honesty. But on the Valkyr flagship, even silence had a kind of discipline that made the air itself feel like ceremony. The tactical center shimmered with holographic projections, systems, fleets, and warfronts mapped in pulsating light. Vera Kale stood at the center of it all. Her armor gleamed black against the glow, purple hair cascading down her back like a storm of starlight. Around her, officers in crimson-trimmed suits reported statistics in precise, musical tones. Jalen kept to her right side, a shadow with no rank, there by invitation, or experiment. The Helix Syndicate fortified this mining station, Vera said, her voice cutting through the hum. She gestured toward a rotating asteroid map. A frontal assault would be costly. I prefer efficiency. Her officers provided analysis after analysis, tactical points, casualty forecasts, calculated bloodshed. Vera listened without comment, then turned to Jalen. You are quiet, human, she said. You didn't bring me here for decoration, he replied. Her golden eyes flicked toward the projection. Then speak. He stepped closer, studying the schematic. The rhythms of combat strategy still made sense to him, the way arteries and veins made sense to a medic. Here, he said, pointing to a central node. That junction controls life support for half the outpost. Hit that, and you don't need to storm the station. They'll evacuate to save themselves. The room went still. Valkyr officers exchanged wary glances. One, a veteran with scarred fur, spoke up. You suggest suffocation as a weapon? I suggest panic as a strategy, Jalen said evenly. When people can't breathe, they stop thinking about loyalty. You take them alive. Fewer bodies. Fewer funerals. Vera's tail made a slow arc through the air, a motion somewhere between amusement and approval. Efficient, she said. And merciful. Curious combination. She dismissed her officers with a flick of her claws. Prepare simulations. Implement his suggestion. When they were alone, she turned toward Jalen, her gaze thoughtful. You see biology everywhere, she said. Even in war. Systems fail under pressure, he replied. Doesn't matter if it's a body or a fortress. Her smile was faint, dangerous. You speak like a strategist. Yet you still claim to be a medic. Fixing things is universal, Jalen said. Her expression softened, just slightly. Come with me. She led him down to a chamber that smelled faintly of ozone and metal oil, the training hall. Empty, circular, and designed for violence. She shed her command armor, piece by piece, revealing the sleek underlayer that clung to her like shadowed silk. The contrast of violet hair against dark fabric caught the light like molten amethyst. You think tactically, she said, selecting 2 training blades. But can you move? He caught the weapon she tossed him. It was balanced for someone stronger, heavier. I'm a medic, not a soldier. You were a soldier once, she said, circling him. Before your compassion cost you a uniform. Show me what remains. She attacked without warning. Reflex took over. He blocked, barely. Her speed was inhuman, each strike carried both precision and intent to learn him. He gave ground, countering when he could. The rhythm built, attack, parry, retreat. You hesitate, she said, voice steady between swings. I adapt, he replied, pivoting. Adapt faster. She swept low, legs coiling like a predator. He fell but rolled through the motion, coming up blade first. His weapon grazed her ribs, a touch, not a wound, but enough. Vera froze. Then, slowly, she smiled. Clever. They stood close now, breath mingling. Her pupils were wide, sharp with something beyond combat. You adapt quickly, she said, tone quieter now. Motivated by what? Survival. Honest, she said, lowering her blade. And dangerous. Before he could answer, an alarm blared through the hall. Red lights flared. Medical emergency in Coors Bay, came the voice of Dr. Seleth, the Valkyr physician. Vital spikes, neural collapse imminent. They ran. When they reached the bay, chaos reigned. Kor convulsed against his restraints, 6 eyes wild, foam streaking his jaws. Instruments shrieked warnings. Seleth backed away, fear breaking her composure. He was stable, she said. Then, sudden collapse. It's like his body's rejecting the grafts. Jalen pushed past her, approaching despite Vera's warning hand. He won't hurt me. He moved into Kor's line of sight. The creature's eyes locked onto him, recognition flickering. Jalen pressed both palms against the hot, trembling fur. Easy, he whispered. Let me help. Kor's thrashing slowed. Jalen scanned him quickly, tracing the pattern of regeneration. Then he found it, a puncture hidden under thick fur, fresh. His heart sank. He's been poisoned, he said, voice tight. Vera was beside him instantly. Explain. He angled the scanner. Someone injected a compound that mimics natural cell decay. It would have looked like a surgical failure. Seletha's eyes widened. That means. Someone on your crew, Jalen said. Someone who knows Valkyr biology. The air changed. Vera's expression went perfectly still, all emotion burned away by fury. How long? 6 hours, maybe less. Her claws flexed. Can you counter it? I can synthesize an antidote, but I need your lab. Full access. Granted. She snapped to her guards. Lock down this bay. No one in or out without my authorization. Turning back to him, her gaze softened by a fraction. Why tell me, she asked quietly. You could have stayed silent. Let him die, and no one would blame you. Because he deserves better, Jalen said. And so do you. For a moment, her mask cracked, just a heartbeat of vulnerability. Then she nodded once. We worked together, then. Together, he confirmed. Hours blurred as they synthesized the antidote. Vera stayed beside him the entire time, commanding, precise, unflinching. When he finally administered the serum, Kor's breathing steadied. The poison's trace levels dropped with each passing minute. The tension in Vera's shoulders loosened, though her eyes still burned. Someone close to me did this, she said. Someone who knew where to strike. Jalen nodded. Then let's make them think they succeeded. Her gaze lifted to his, sharp with approval. A predator's trick, she murmured. I like how you think. She moved closer, her violet hair brushing his shoulder. You chose to help me. You didn't have to. Funny thing about debts, Jalen said, exhaustion cracking his tone. They go both ways. Her tail brushed against his leg, a subtle gesture of acknowledgement, almost tenderness. Yes, she whispered. They do. 3 days after the failed coup, the summons came. Commander Vera Kale stood before the viewport of her quarters, the violet of her hair illuminated by the starfield beyond. The message hologram hovered before her, its seal unmistakable. The Valkyr Council demanded her presence. Jalen watched her from the medbay console, scanning the last of Kor's recovery logs. They want an explanation, she said quietly, her voice calm but strained. A commander whose second-in-command attempts assassination, weakness. He set the datapad down. You survived the attack, rooted out traitors, and saved your bonded beast. That sounds like strength to me. She turned, her amber eyes glinting. To the council, strength means dominance. They will see a human's intervention as humiliation. Then change the story, he said. Make it about evolution, not weakness. Her tail flicked once, thoughtful. Evolution. Partnership, Jalen said. You didn't get weaker by trusting me. You adapted. She studied him for a long moment, then smiled faintly. You speak as if you belong in my war room. I'm already there, he replied. The council chamber was carved from a single asteroid, its walls glimmering with metals from conquered worlds. 7 matriarchs sat in an arc of authority, their armor ceremonial but no less intimidating. The gallery brimmed with rival commanders, all waiting to see Vera fall. The moment she entered, silence rippled outward. Even among her own kind, Vera Kale was legend, and scandal. Her purple hair, a mark of defiance against the black and red of tradition, shimmered under the council lights. Jalen followed half a step behind, not as prisoner, but as something harder to define. The murmurs began immediately. A human. Matriarch Sara, oldest and fiercest, leaned forward. Commander Kale, she began, voice like cracked stone. Your second-in-command attempted to kill you, claiming your bond to the beast, and your human companion made you unfit for leadership. Explain why we should let you keep command. Vera bowed her head slightly. Voritha's reasoning was correct in one respect, she said. I have changed. But not into something weaker, into something better. The matriarchs exchanged skeptical glances. Better, one repeated. Evolution through collaboration, Vera said. 3 weeks ago, Kor lay dying. This human saved him, using methods we had never considered. Later, his tactical analysis achieved victory at the Helix mining station with 0 Valkyr casualties. The word 0 echoed through the chamber. Valkyr warfare measured success by territory, not by survival. This was heresy. Coincidence, one matriarch said. Luck. Then examine the data, Jalen said, stepping forward. His voice carried across the hall with quiet defiance. A ripple of outrage spread among the audience. Humans didn't speak in council. But Sara raised a clawed hand. Let him speak. Jalen projected a hologram, showing medical and tactical readouts. Kor's recovery exceeded Valkyr projections by 40%. The mining station mission achieved 97% efficiency compared to your fleet average of 72. These aren't accidents. They're results. A rival commander barked, you call compassion strength? I call fewer deaths victory, Jalen said. You can cling to old definitions of power, or you can survive longer. A murmur, louder this time. Some angry, others curious. Vera let the silence linger before speaking again. The Empire was built on strength, she said. But strength is not immovable. It adapts, or it dies. She stepped closer to the council dais, her voice rising with quiet conviction. I propose a pilot initiative. 1 year. Cross-species cooperation under my command. If it fails, strip me of my rank. If it succeeds, we redefine conquest itself. And this human? Sara asked. What is his role in this experiment? Vera's answer was deliberate. He is my partner in strategy and innovation. Gasps erupted. In Valkyr culture, partner implied equal. Sara's golden eyes narrowed. You ask us to recognize equality with a lesser species. I ask you to recognize results, Vera replied. The galaxy doesn't reward purity, it rewards adaptation. Humanity survived its wars by learning to bend without breaking. That is strength we can use. The matriarchs whispered among themselves, tails flicking like restless metronomes. Finally, Sara turned back to them. 1 year, she said at last. 1 cycle to prove your claim. Should you fail, both of you will answer for this heresy. Vera inclined her head. Understood. The heavy doors closed behind them. The murmur of the crowd faded into the low hum of the corridor. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Vera exhaled, tension leaving her shoulders. We did not die, she said dryly. Always a good start, Jalen replied. Her laugh was soft but real. She turned, eyes glowing faintly. You've tied yourself to me, human. To the Empire. To a future that might destroy us both. Or change everything, he said. Her hand found his, fingers threading through his. You believe we can change them? I believe we already have. A low rumble interrupted them. From the adjoining bay, Kor emerged, fully healed, his massive frame filling the corridor. The Shrike Wolf pressed his head against Vera's side, then nudged Jalen gently. Acceptance. Vera smiled, an expression that looked almost foreign on her battle-hardened face. 1 year, she said softly. To change the galaxy's mind, or at least our own. I'll take those odds, Jalen said. Good. She turned to him fully, her tail curling around his leg, a gesture both intimate and instinctive. Because I've grown quite attached to having you here. He chuckled. Attached? That's almost romantic. I am a military commander, she said with mock sternness. Not a poet. It's one of your better qualities. Her smile softened. Stay, Jalen. Not because they ordered it. Stay because you choose it. He cupped her face, thumb tracing the faint red sigils beneath her eyes. I chose it the moment I couldn't walk away from a dying creature. I chose it again when I told you about the poison. I chose it when I stood beside you against your own kind. And now, she whispered. He leaned closer, his forehead brushing hers. Now I choose it again. Then, she said quietly, forever. Beyond them, the stars burned bright, uncaring, infinite. But for the first time, Jalen Cross didn't feel small beneath them. He felt seen. And beside him, the most feared commander in the galaxy, with hair like violet flame, smiled as if the future might, just might, belong to them both. And that was how a disgraced human medic and the galaxy's deadliest commander rewrote the rules of strength. Jalen Cross didn't set out to change empires. He only wanted to save one life. But compassion, like gravity, pulls everything into its orbit. One decision, one heartbeat, can echo across worlds. Commander Vera Kale, once the embodiment of fear, now stood as something more dangerous, a symbol of evolution. Not just for the Valkyr Empire, but for anyone who had ever believed that mercy was weakness. Together, they turned survival into partnership, and conquest into understanding. The Valkyr called it heresy. The humans called it impossible. History would call it the beginning of something new. In the end, maybe the lesson wasn't about dominance at all. Maybe it was about courage, the courage to look into the eyes of what you've been taught to hate, and see yourself reflected there. So if you've been following this far, don't forget, like the story, share it, and subscribe to the channel for more tales of impossible alliances, fragile hope, and the wild, beautiful chaos of the stars. Because somewhere out there, someone is still choosing compassion in a world built for conquest. And that might just save us all.